It's a week 4 showdown. We didn't exactly anticipate the Chiefs got to get this win, and I think they will. Coming up today, I'm Locked On Chiefs.
From the land of the free and the home of the Chiefs, this is the Locked On Chiefs podcast.
Welcome in Chiefs Kingdom. Thanks for making us your first listen here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. We appreciate you. Thank you to the everydayers who help us every day in making sure that they're subscribed and they listen and they see it everywhere, whether you're on video or audio, whatever you're looking for. They're even in the text line at 816-357-8781. I'm Ryan Tracy, the founder of Rogue Analytics and Performance Consulting. I also run NFL 33. You're going to see a piece from me very shortly on the rest of the league and the wonder that's going on, as well as rgrfootball.com, where we dig in from a whole other aspect of the Chiefs. Chris is over at KC Chiefs Corner, where he puts out content for you. You want to know about the quarterbacks and the cap and everything there. So check all those outlets out. We have a ton. If you're new to us, we've been doing this together in some form or fashion going on, 11 years, 9 here, as we are the original hosts of this show, Locked On Chiefs. And I even came across a text the other day, dude, when we were talking to someone, and I said, I don't know how to spell that. Go ask Chris. So if there's any spelling errors, it's me, folks. So, yeah, it's been a long time. We are going to talk about where the Chiefs are relative to the Ravens, particularly on the injury front, because it is crystallizing here. That's where we start. Then we'll get to the must-win matchups, the things they must accomplish in order to get this W, the X factors that could throw that off or really make it explosive, and finally our predictions. That is our show today. Make sure you stick around for it. I'm excited. Other than my spelling, the list is long for the Chiefs, but only one guy was limited on Thursday's practice, really the one that is the most important of the week. That was Christian Fulton. Is it a possibility that he plays? Maybe. I will put it at 50-50 at this point because I don't know how well he practiced, but Mike Dana was out there full. Xavier Worthy was out there full, and everybody else who's even listed, including the right wrist of your QB1, was out there full. Can't say that for the Ravens. I feel pretty good about where they are on the injury report.
So I will be honest, I just looked at the injury report. Like I had seen reports that Xavier Worthy had practiced in full and everybody practiced. I hadn't seen the actual injury report. You look at the injury report and you're like, holy crap.
Right?
Because there's like 15 people on it for the Chiefs. Everybody's in full in practice except for, as you said, Christian Fulton. So I think you feel pretty good about that. Probably get Mike Dana back this week, which of all weeks to get him back, if he could play this week, it would be good because he could really help set the edge and help with Derrick Henry. So I think that could be huge. But then you flip it over and you start looking at the Ravens injury report. Madubuike being out, like we talked about on yesterday's show with Kevin, he's not going to play. I can't imagine. Did not practice 2 days in a row. Patrick Ricard still not practicing. Ronnie Stanley didn't practice, so they could be without their left tackle. Kyle Van Noy didn't practice. Broderick Washington didn't practice. They're down to their, third and fourth? And Travis Jones was limited, so
right,
another defensive tackle. So you're down to your third, fourth, fifth defensive tackle, and Isaiah Likely is limited. You would imagine that he's going to try to go in this game because it's going to mean a lot for the Ravens, and I'm sure he likes playing against the Chiefs. Tight ends usually tear Kansas City up a new one, so I would imagine that they're going to want him out there on the field. But, yeah, you look at this, and the Chiefs are finally getting healthier. The question that we haven't really discussed on the show, though, is we keep seeing Patrick Mahomes listed with a right wrist injury. How much is that really affecting his play? How much is that affecting some of the accuracy things that he has from time to time that you just sit there and like, what was that throw?
Right. That's the big question is it going on and it's affecting more, especially, and I wonder on those like double pumps and the one that he like basically was to the release point before he brought it back. Like that's just got to stress it out even more. So do we see him dumb that down, all his famous pump fakes? Because I think that's probably adding to the injury or at least the longevity to heal.
Well, and did it cause him to have that incompletion to Travis Kelce? Don't forget, what did he pump 3 times before he even threw the ball to Travis Kelce? I don't know whether or not it's really affecting his throw or not, but it's interesting that it's on the injury report, and it's been there for a couple weeks now. So he obviously has some kind of injury there. The thing that sucks about it is that you look at it, and while he has played, he's never, I don't think he's really ever had a full healthy season in years. And that's rough.
It was 2017, but
yeah. But I mean, and we assume he was healthy then. I guess we don't really know. I mean, after I guess the Denver game, who knows?
Yeah, right. It was one game. He made it. He's okay.
Yeah. I just, you look at this and it's like, okay, he's starting to throw the ball down the field a little bit more. He's starting to attack. He's starting to do things that he's done in the past, and you got to feel great about that. But then you look at some of the stuff that he's done in the past that he's not doing right now, and you're just kind of like, what's the difference? And so I wonder if the wrist is more of an issue than we've been told and that we're getting knowledge of.
Yeah, I kind of feel like that as well. And maybe that will become more elaborate. Maybe it's just something we're just going to have to deal with for now.
Yep.
Because like him, there is no stopping. And even if he had to tape it up or whatever, a lot of his flick throws are wrist-based. His style makes it even more difficult to get away from it. So I can't anticipate that happening anytime soon. We're going to have to see him evolve, and hopefully with all the injuries that they have and what I expect to be less pass rush up the middle, allow Patrick to stand back there, not have to rely on that technique as much, and just be able to fully involve his lower half, use his legs to drive the ball, not have to rely on so much of the arm mechanics, which hopefully will take some of the pressure off of that.
Well, and be fair about it. I mean, one of the throws that he had to Tyquan Thornton, I think it was the one where Tyquan Thornton was wide open. He wasn't able to follow through, and that's partially the reason he overthrew him, because when you're not able to follow through, you don't have the right mechanics. Your body isn't pulling the ball exactly where you want it to be, and that's the type of thing that happens. Is you can have a ball sail on you a little bit because you're not able to step into it and have the correct throwing motion down more than anything else. I mean, that's just part of it.
It's amazing how sports are similar. It's the same thing as hitters in volleyball. You have to have that very tail end of the motion to really get the trajectory on the ball that you're looking for. It happens all the time, and it's fragile. So let's hope that the offensive line blocking, we'll talk about the matchups here in a second, are going to be able to come through. But the most important matchup, which we are going to get to all of them for the must-wins next, is all up here. Coming at you next. This episode is brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square, and there's certain businesses that truly make the neighborhood feel like home, whether it's a local sports bar packed with game days or a coffee shop that just makes your order by heart and knows it every single time, down to the corner deli. They've been serving the community for decades, and these are the places that bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. And if you're going to go to Casual Animal Brewing and help them out, make it feel like home, they're going to give you the best during Sunday football season. Everyone's got team colors on. The energy is incredible, and it makes it feel like the entire block is cheering together. Square is a proud partner for more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/LockedOnNFL to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot like Casual Animal Brewing, and you'll be happy that you did.
It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this weekend's MVP. Who delivered? Powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order, these players delivered when it mattered the most. Let's break it down. For the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes delivered as he always does in a big way. It was his throws down to Tyquan Thornton and his ability to continuously push the ball down the field that helped get the Chiefs a victory against the Giants. When the pressure was on, Patrick Mahomes came through, no hesitation and no delay. And if you've been watching week after week, this performance wasn't a fluke. Mahomes is on a streak. And just like Mahomes delivered for the Chiefs, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, and you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through 11/18.
Matchups are made to be beaten, won, whatever you want to, whatever side you end up on. Mostly it's physical. It's, exploiting your skill set. I will tell you that the most important matchup the Chiefs must win this week is not going to happen on the field. They have to roll in to that stadium ready to play. They have to not look for juice no more. They got to bring it with them. They got to not give a whip about what they're wearing to the game instead of what they're doing in the game. And I'm talking to you, Travis Kelce. I don't care what you wear to get to the stadium. You have to come ready to play. No more bitching and complaining on the sidelines. No more confronting Andy Reid. You guys have to bring your A game against this team because you got to leave no doubt that despite a slow start that you are still championship capable team, and you got to take it to the Ravens with all the juice that you have.
Absolutely. They absolutely have to get off to a fast start in this game. They have to take it to the Ravens. They have to press in this game. And I hate saying it that way, but the reality is you're 1-2. You're in a situation where you are going to be going up against the Jags next week, which I feel okay about. But then you have another tough test in Detroit, who just beat this Ravens team that we're playing right now. You have a tough schedule. You can't get to a point where you're 1-3. This is a team that needs to go out and perform, show what they are capable of. And while you're in a situation where you're still going to be without Rasheed Rice, it looks like Xavier Worthy as of right now is going to be back. That's important. You have to show that you have the ability to adapt, and you have to be able to take advantage of whatever the defense is going to give you. So for me, when I start looking at these matchups, it's a question of the Ravens have always been a team that could get after Kansas City. That isn't the case this year. And when you start looking at the defensive tackles that they're going to be missing in this game, it almost looks like this is a situation where Kansas City should be able to run the ball and run it really well, to the point where they should be able to run for over 100 yards and maybe 150 yards. I mean, this offense should be able to do that against this defense. They've been struggling against the run, and they're still out some of their key players on the defensive line. Will that happen is going to be the big question. I don't know that it will, because Kansas City hasn't shown that they have the desire to continuously run the ball. But to me, that's a huge matchup in this game, is the Chiefs offensive line dominating the Ravens defensive line, especially in the running game, because they need the running game to get going in this one to be able to control the ball and keep Derrick Henry off the field.
Yeah, I want to see Carson Steele elevated. I want him to take it all the way to him and run down their throats. If you're weak up the middle, then attack up the middle. Be done with it. Go double team Broquan, take him out, like the whole 9 yards. I agree with you completely. On the other side, I need a couple of things to happen. I don't know if I'm going to get to all of them, so I'm going to throw them all in one. A, I need Leo Chanel to become a Henry Hunter. He's got to go track him down and hit him. He can't get stiff-armed. He can't get run over. He's got to deliver the blows. Henry's been way more susceptible to fumbling this year, and I think Leo Chanel is the guy to knock it out. So that's part A. Part B is Chamari Connor and Jaden Hicks. You have to win your battle with Lamar Jackson in both ways. And that means if he's scrambling, you have to come downhill like a bat out of hell and go get him. And if he's not, you have to take away the tight ends, because both of them are going to hurt you. Andrews had a nice game last week. He was kind of feeling it, obviously likely coming back. Those two safeties, whether they're roaming, playing high, or down in the box, are going to be critical to stopping Lamar one way or the other.
You know, looking at the injury report, you have to wonder, with Lamar Jackson probably, at least as it looks right now, missing his left tackle again in Ronnie Stanley. I need to see pass rush from Karlaftis, Dana, Minihue, anybody that's not Chris Jones, because Chris Jones he's been getting pressure. It isn't necessarily where you'd want him to be, but I think that part of that is because he keeps getting double teamed. But you need to get pressure on Lamar Jackson. But the bigger thing, and I said this in the first segment, the bigger thing with Dana coming back, you have to set the edge, and you cannot let Lamar bounce it outside. You absolutely have to rush with the thought process of keeping the quarterback hemmed in and collapse the pocket around him versus letting him have any chance at bouncing anything outside. So to me, a huge matchup in this one is the defensive ends against whoever the tackles are. And I'll throw it onto the right side too, because Rosengarten has been playing, but he hasn't been playing very well. So they should be susceptible to pressure, and Kansas City has shown that they have the ability to get after the quarterback a little bit. At least they did against the Giants. We'll see if that continues this week, but it should. We got to hope that it does against the Ravens. Let's put it that way.
I agree with you. I'm looking for Ashton Gillotte to make an impact here because I believe his style of rushing and the fact that he can convert speed to power is something that can help against both the tackles. How they choose to rotate inside with Dana back. We saw Menahew at the nose last week. We'll see how that rotation comes around, but I need to see more Ashton Gillotte. He needs to be in early. He was in on the second play last week, but I think he's that change of pace rusher against what the Chiefs normally do that might be able to strike that match and get them really going.
Well, it's going to be real interesting to see how Kansas City decides that they want to play defense in this game, because it's a question of pick your poison. Are you going to try to stop Derrick Henry, or are you going to try to stop Lamar Jackson? You have to essentially, you're going to end up having to do both. But how are you going to do that? Who are you going to be focused on, and who are you going to attack with? And some of that is you're going to see just by who they line up with. If Derek Nottie is out there on a regular basis, they're focusing on trying to stop Derrick Henry. And maybe that's the direction they go. I'll be interested to see if they do that. But they don't really have the defensive tackles to be able to rotate through that way. So that's going to be a problem too when you start looking at if Henry gets 30 carries, which only is going to happen if he's running all over the Chiefs. That's a problem.
Yeah. Stop him early, stop Lamar late. That's the way that I see it coming down. But that's the game plan. The X factors can throw that all out of whack. Who are they and what happens in this game? That's next. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IHS Top Safety Plus pick awards than anyone else. As of August 25, from footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings the same intention to how we craft every model. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. Like our players, we sweat every detail as well, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. X factors, guys that can change the circumstance, things that can change the circumstance of this ball game. I always go first, so let's flip it. What do you got?
My X factor is pretty easy. It's Xavier Worthy, and it's just a question of how much can he do. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. If he can go out there and do, I'm not expecting, and I know he's going to be limited. We've kind of talked about this a little bit. He's going to be limited in the different things he can do. He's going to be limited on where he's going to be able to catch the ball, and if he's going to be able to stretch out and all those different things. I get that. But he can still be a threat. And if they can use him to get by the next 3 weeks to get to a point where you get Rasheed Rice back, then you're in a situation where this offense, I think, will take off. It's going to suck because you're still never going to have Xavier Worthy, Hollywood Brown, and Rasheed Rice healthy all at once. But this offense can take off with those weapons. And then you add a guy in like Jalen Royals, who we haven't even seen yet in a regular season game. We'll see what he's able to do. But to me, when you add a guy like Xavier Worthy, and it's the speed, it's the threat of going deep on a regular basis, it's, you're going to be pulling safeties away from the line of scrimmage. And now you're going to have three guys that can do it. That's the biggest key to me, is you not only do you have Hollywood Brown, who has 4.3 speed, you have Xavier Worthy and Tyquan Thornton that both have that same type of speed. You can have all three of them on the field at the same time, and those safeties aren't going to have a freaking clue with what's coming and how they're going to have to defend something. So to me, I think that my X factor is Xavier Worthy, because I do think that they had a ton of things in this offense for him that they had planned for him in year two that they had to go away from. They're still going to probably have to go away from some of it, because he just won't be able to do some of it. But he is a big part of what their plans are in this offense.
And it does feel like he's likely to play at this point.
Yep.
There's been no indication otherwise. So I'm with you. And the 3x1 verts plays are back on the board with him there. This will work. And we'll see what happens with Rasheed and who's in what spot. But I have a couple of wrinkles that I will talk about when that happens.
Imagine putting Brashard Smith on the field at the same time with those.
Yeah, absolutely. As you
Just
absolutely
think about
should.
that.
That's
Right.
one of the wrinkles that I was going to bring up, but we'll get to
sorry,
that
my
when
bad.
she's coming back, folks. Couple of weeks, but we'll get there. On the flip side, it's also about pass catchers for me on the other side. And I don't want to be alarmist, but I've spoken to people in Baltimore that I know and trust that feel like there's an undercurrent there. They're going to try to get the ball to Zay Flowers, as they should. He's made some plays against the Chiefs in particular, and we know that they're going to have to guard him most likely with their best defender in Trent McDuffie. I'm going to say this in a way that hopefully doesn't jinx us, because I do feel like you have to respect Rashad Bateman, but I'm not scared of Rashad Bateman. So
Right.
leave that there. You know who I am scared of? And that is a guy who played with Xavier Worthy for a short time.
Yep.
There is a factor here, as I understand, there's an undercurrent of resentment towards the way last season went for DeAndre Hopkins. And I'm concerned that they practiced against him. Obviously, Williams hasn't, but most of the other secondary has. And if he is out for revenge and Lamar's willing, I think they might try to feed him. And if that is the case, do you have the answer? He's an X factor, and he hasn't done a whole lot this season. He had 164-yard game. Bateman had 163-yard game last week. One of them up and down each week, but the rest of the time, putting up like 13, 15 yards. So it's feast or famine with both of those players. Exactly. And that's where
the difference.
That's where we got to watch out. And John Harbaugh is not above helping somebody get a grudge ungrudged. So watch out for D-Hop.
Yeah, and it's crazy to me to hear that there's resentment there, because I don't understand why there would be. He didn't perform. I mean, that's what it really comes down to. How many drop passes did he have? And we're talking about a guy that literally has probably he's probably top 5 in the NFL in the last 20 years with his hands. He's got phenomenal hands. And I don't understand what happened last year in Kansas City, but it didn't work. And it is what it is at this point. Hopefully that doesn't become a big issue for Kansas City. The other X factor for me is going to be Likely. And it's not because knowing that he's coming off an injury and it's a foot injury, so he's going to be dealing with it if he plays. I think he's an X factor mainly because Kansas City, I think, would be okay if it's just the one tight end, if it's just Mark Andrews. But you add in Isaiah Likely for a team that in the past at least has struggled against tight ends. We haven't really seen that this year yet. So going up against two that are that good is a stressor that will be something to watch for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And honestly, on the flip side, the other guy that I want to watch out for is Nate Wiggins. They're going to have to rely on him. Kyle Hamilton's going to match up with Kels. They feel like he can erase Kels because of Kelsey's age and how well he played him last year. They have reason to be confident, but I don't think that it's like a blank for Travis Kelce. Although, Travis, you do have to come prepared. I'm just saying. There is the other factor that outside of that, with Malachi Starks, the rookie, playing above, whether it's single high or split, he hasn't seen Tyquan. I don't believe he got any kind of close look at Xavier. I could be wrong with some of those CFB playoff games that they both went through, but I don't think so. So that speed is something that he's going to have to deal with, and he hasn't had the cleanest start to the season. So they're going to have to give him a little help. So if the last guy standing and the guy that you only feel out of your secondary that's a weapon, they'll blitz Wiggins. They'll move him around. They'll try to take someone away. As long as you know where he is, I think there is opportunity to be had in that passing game against that secondary, despite Marlon Humphrey's presence, maybe because of it. But you have to know where that is. And if you know where Wiggins is, you can make him a non-factor instead of an X factor.
I'm really excited to see this because you're finally getting to a point where coming into the season, it was a question, is Tyquan going to be able to do anything more than just be a deep ball threat? And I'm not saying that he's turned into a full-fledged wide receiver. Don't get me wrong there. But he has shown that he has the ability to do other things in this offense. And that wasn't something that he had even 3 weeks ago when he was playing the first week of the season with Xavier Worthy on the field. So he has continued to grow. So if he continues to get better and continues to grow, then you add in a Jalen Royals. Then you add in what Hollywood Brown is going to be. You talk about an X factor. That's another X factor in this one. You think that Hollywood Brown doesn't have some feelings that he wants to work out on the Ravens?
Yeah, probably. I got to think.
Yeah. I think that's going to be a big one, and it wouldn't shock me for them to have a very big Hollywood script in the first half and see how things progress. And really just it's a matter of attacking the defense and trying to figure out, okay, where can we attack? What is going to work and how are we going to go about doing it? I feel better about this game than I thought I was going to, mainly because the Ravens have so many injuries that they're going to be trying to overcome on defense. And when you look at Kansas City, their defense has been very stout the past couple of weeks, and I think that continues. I don't know that they're going to be allowing, just barely, double-digit points, but I do think that this is going to be a good defensive showing by the Chiefs and not something where they're giving up 30 points.
Well, I think they're going to be in a pretty good situation. I believe I went first last week. So what do you think happens?
I've been back and forth on this one just because it's the Ravens, but I think Kansas City finds a way to win this game. If it comes down to a situation between whose defense is going to be better, Kansas City's got a better defense right now. Baltimore generally has had a better defense in the past, but they don't have one right now. That's not they're struggling because of their injuries, and they're struggling. Their defensive coordinator struggling with adjusting with the injuries that they do have. So I feel good about the offense being able to put up at least a decent amount of points. Is it going to be enough? Is it going to be 30 points? I don't expect that just because of the way that they played over the past couple of weeks. But I also don't think that the Ravens are going to be scoring 30 points against this defense. I just don't see it. Not the way that this defense has played since they played the Chargers. So to me, I think that this game comes down to probably – it may come down to who has the ball last. I hate that, but it may come down to that, and it may be a situation where Kansas City wins. I'm thinking 24-21.
I feel like the media this week has gone absolutely berserk about how terrible this is, the worst season Patrick Mahomes' offense has ever looked. And then they never mention the fact that his top 2 passing targets are gone.
They don't care. That's the crazy part.
Yeah. And we all know that Travis is getting older. And yes, you can still argue that he should be the top target. I will argue that he should not at this point. And regardless of it, Travis has now become a player that plays in the middle on the shorter and intermediate routes. He's not ripping off 30 and 40-yard plays. I hope that he does. I would love to see him burn out rather than fade away. Let's see it. But that factor of not having those top things that you want to do that are going to give you all the stats that all the media wants to talk about, that I think is an artificial effect here. And with Xavier back, just his presence, I think, opens up the offense. He doesn't have to be the performer he would have been pre-injury. He will still draw coverage. He will still keep Tyquan cleaner. He will still allow the offense to look like what they want to do. And I think that is a factor. I think they struggle early. I think they give up some plays they'd rather have back, and it takes them a while to feel it. The best drive of last week was to open the second half. I think that's probably the very likely scenario that will happen here. But in the end, they are able to put up points, probably not 30. I have this 28-23 Chiefs with the Ravens scoring late to get to 23. I don't think it's really contested in the fourth quarter.
You bring up the fact that Kansas City doesn't have its 2 top wide receivers and how that is used against Patrick, or that's not used against, or that's not even talked about when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. But I have to wonder, if you take away T. Higgins and Jamar Chase in Cincinnati, is Joe Burrow even relevant? Because
is he relevant now?
Well, I understand he's injured and irrelevant right now, but my point is Browning is still doing pretty well with those 2 wide receivers. It's like they kind of matter. That's my point.
What an idea. Your top 2 talents on the outside matter. Yeah, I can get down with that. That works. Folks, it's just not fair, and that's the way that it goes. But that's what we think is going to happen. What do you think is going to happen? Put your comments down below here on YouTube or hit us on Twitter. I'm sorry, X, whatever we call it these days. It's going to be a good time. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being in every day. Thank you for being here on a Friday as we get ready for a ball game. We will be live post-game with you. So enjoy your weekend. Get ready for this one. Late kickoff, afternoon. I know that's a little bit strange for some folks, but enjoy yourself. Have a great one, and we'll talk to you post-game.